are. Welcome back to Hop on Calls. I love that intro. It always gets me excited to rip some dials. I'm your host, Kevin Hopp, as always. But today, I'm joined by none other than Eric Iannello. What's up, Eric? Welcome to the show.
What's up, brother? Thanks for having me, man.
Dude, thanks for coming on. It's getting harder and harder out here to find people that are willing to rip live cold calls on the internet.
I mean, outbound's hard, man. It's tough out there on the streets.
It is. A lot of people talk about cold calling on LinkedIn. Sometimes when I'm looking for new people to come on the show, I'll go see who's like trending for it, who's most popular for it. I'll DM those people and say, hey, love your advice. Fantastic advice. Why don't you come put it to action? And oh boy, the excuses, excuse. Everything starts flying out of, I can't. You want me to actually do this? I can't do that. Right? So
I love catfish, man.
I love that you're here. Thanks for being here, Eric. This show is sponsored by ConnectAndSell. We're going to be using the live conversation weapon today to have live conversations. ConnectAndSell is a really easy to use platform. Basically, one click and you're having live conversations with people in your target market. It really is that simple. I'm going to drop a link in the chat here for you to check out ConnectAndSell for free with your team. If you haven't done it, please take advantage of that. It's incredible. Thank you to our sponsor, ConnectAndSell. All right, Eric, let's talk for a minute about who you're calling today and what you're doing today. Like, who are we calling for?
Yeah, man. So I'm going to be calling out of the Sales Collective, which we are a sales consulting company solving the biggest nuance, man. It's pipeline frustrations. So my main ICP will be a combination of VC folks as well as the C-suites, the big dogs.
Okay, you're gonna call VC partners and people directly, like.
Oh yeah, man. Straight to the food chain, man.
I like that. It's an interesting approach to go straight to the head of the snake like that. Right on. I dig that. I'm going to be calling sales leaders, and these sales leaders are all at SaaS businesses for the most part, like 95% SaaS. I'm trying to sniff around if they have an initiative to get better at cold calling and outbound sales. Kind of what I do is I help people build calling culture utilizing people, process, and technology all in one motion. Like the shirt says, life is too short to listen to the phone ring. So I don't cold call one by one. I haven't done that since 2017. I always use a dialer, so it's efficient and easy, and I can get into my calls as fast as I can. Let's hit go. You ready to rock?
Baby, yeah. Let's do this.
I love it.
I'm gonna secret agent man on this one.
Sweet. Hit go on my end. So if I start talking, you know what's up. By the way, if I get to connect, you should probably pause your dialer, and I'll do the same. So, Eric, let's while we're waiting for our first connect, let's go back to the start. When did you make your first cold call? What was that like?
Oh man, the worst experience of my life. I still have nightmares about it, man.
Hey, this is Kevin with HCG. Nick, how you doing? Sorry about that. Caught you at a bad time. I'll reach out another time, Nick. Cheers. Ooh, sorry, man. He popped in my ear. So Nick hit with the most frequent thing that happens on this show, by the way, is you run into people that are talking to other people that are busy, right? So Nick just said the first thing out of his mouth was, yeah, hi, I'm on another call. What is this?
That's my favorite.
To me, that's a giant red flag to if I were to drop my value prop, if it's not the number one thing in his brain right now, it's getting an I'm not interested, I'm good, take me off your list, I call that the term I use for that is a false negative impression. I would get a false negative around that if I push and say, let's talk about what I want to talk about right now. So don't want to have a false negative. Moving on. We'll call Nick back another day. Back to your story. Worst moment of your life? Your first cold call? Really?
Oh man, yeah, I started in the physical fitness industry. So cold calling to try to recruit people for personal training is probably the most awkward thing.
Oof.
Um, yeah, because yeah, you can kind of fill in between the blanks on why that's a terrible idea. But that was my first experience. So everything from there was just been pretty kosher, so to speak.
Dang.
But yeah,
Were
man, what
you
about you?
were you working leads at all, or were you just seriously just calling random people?
I mean, this is go down the phone book and call anybody in your 20-mile square mile radius. It was it was interesting, man. It was interesting. Taught me a lot of objection handling. Taught me a lot of that resilience. The thick skin, big smile kind of situation.
Yeah.
Sticking to your cues. But yeah, it was definitely something that I won't forget, and hopefully we'll never do again.
Yeah, I think part of the reason that a lot of people hate cold calling, and correct me if I'm wrong, but they don't have a good process to even get to the point of cold calling. So when you end up getting the courage to finally cold call and you're dialing one by one, you're calling down a list of people that are like all over the place, and they're not the same sort of, they all don't care about the same sort of thing. They're not in the same regions. They're all, it's kind of a mess. And I see this time and time again. This is actually what I help teams with is get a really thoughtful process around people process technology with cold calling, because for me, that's what changed the game, right? Like it wasn't mindfulness, it wasn't meditation. I didn't read a book to get better at cold calling. I went out and made a shitload of cold calls, but I could only do that because I figured out how to make a process to get there.
Yeah. And to that point, like I've been grateful enough to now work 4 different verticals in like 3 years. I haven't changed a dang thing of how I approach cold calling. It's the
Really?
same process as you said, man. I mean, engineers, DevOps, GTM, and now consulting, where it's everybody and their mother's an ICP. So process is key. You nailed it on the head.
That's right. That's right. Well, I am dialing on my side here. Phone's ringing. Um, you asked about my first cold call. My first cold call was during my first job, and I was working for a real estate technology company. It was a seed stage startup. I was the only employee. It was the CEO and me back to back in an office for a year and a
Oh
half.
my God.
It was an incredible experience. But his hypothesis was like, hey, like let's make a white label mobile app that we can sell to realtors. And the hypothesis was we could call them out of the blue and sell them this app, a subscription to this app for $30 a month.
Oof.
And I'll never forget making those first few calls and talking about what we do. And then I want to say it was like,
Hey, Catherine, how are you? This is Eric calling from the Sales Collective. Hello? I love that one. When they just keep on, hello? Hello? Picked up, it was a cold call.
oh, dang. Hey, this is Kevin with HCG. Chris, how you doing, man? Yeah, my name's Kevin Hopp. I actually run my own company, Hopp Consulting Group. I know I caught you out of the blue. Did I catch you with a minute to chat, or are you busy? Cheers. Have a great day. Was busy and he hung up on me.
So it's interesting. I'm curious, why do you use, as they call it, a PBO to kind of like ask for time rather than kind of the classic steamroll?
Because I have a fragile ego and I hate it when people tell me they're not interested.
I appreciate that. Yeah, get out, put the objection out in front of you rather than the alternative. I just feel like, and keep me honest here. Like if you give them the chance to object, they will.
Sort of. So the other thing to understand is like most people when they're cold calling.
Hey, Gary, how are you doing, man? This is Eric calling from the Sales Collective. Eric calling from the Sales Collective. Can you hear me okay? I'm on my headphones. I don't know if it's got a great connection. So the Sales Collective, we partner with a lot of investors like yourself to kind of address any revenue red flags that we're seeing with your portfolio. And so my first question, obviously, is: are you seeing a kind of theme, collectively throughout your portfolio with any companies that are struggling generating revenue? Oh, I apologize. Maybe Gary from Jerry's Financial. Oh, okay, I apologize. Bad data.
Bad data.
Bad data.
Brutal. Okay. What was I saying? What I was saying right before you got that connect was most sales reps, because they are cold calling one by one, and it's off of a list of people you really really like. They get excited when they get someone on the phone and they think, this is it. I have to make this happen right now, because who knows if I'll ever talk to this person again, right? A lot of pressure, heart rate goes up, urgency goes up. And then what ends up happening is they get that slap in the face of, I'm not interested. Take me off your list. Thanks for the call, Kevin. We're good. We're all set. How many times have we heard that? I'm all set. I know you're all set. I didn't call to find out if you're all set. I didn't call to find out if you're interested, because I know before I pick up the phone, you're not interested. If you were interested, you would have called me, but you didn't. So let's have a conversation. So the way I cold call is very different, because I have no ego in this. I have no, my heart rate right now, if you could see on my watch, is like 75 beats per minute. Like, I'm chill, because if you can't talk right now, I'll talk to you tomorrow. You're on my list. You're not going anywhere. You're in ConnectAndSell. It's going to talk to you again tomorrow. I don't have to put any pressure on you.
Hey, Santiago, this is Eric calling from the Sales Collective. How are you? I'm doing great, man. Hey, I know I'm kind of calling you out of the blue here, but I don't know. Have you heard of Sales Collective, or am I catching you off guard here? Oh, Santino. Oh, forgive me. I apologize about the interruption. So case in point, if you didn't even finish your sentence right there, I could have disqualified it about 5 seconds earlier. Kept it within had I just asked. So wise.
What, she came out and said, I can't talk right now?
Yeah. Essentially, because I was going through, I was like, hey, did you hear about this? So like all that jargon that could have been just, had I just gone, you have 5 seconds since it doesn't sound familiar or whatever.
Right. So, I mean, my technique is not for everybody, because it does lead to a lot of that. Like, it's probably 70% of the time they say, nope, can't talk, bye. But the difference is the conversations I do get, usually, it's very rare for me to get I'm not interested. Take me off your last one. Or, yeah, we're all set. Thanks, man. I don't get a lot of that. And I'm at the point in my career where I just don't want to hear that all the time. So I'm super defensive of my time when I call.
Yeah, and I think to that point, like, let's disqualify off the top, right? It's the same thing with pipeline, right? Like, I'm so quick to disqualify in early stage. Might as well, it's the same repetition within my cold calls. Not waste my time or your time.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of trying to get to the point as fast as we can when we get on. But yeah, I have less valuable conversations. I have a lot more connects, because I'm so defensive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Do you find that only playing well with, sales leaders, or with other ICP as well?
Let's put it this way. I think, hey, this is Kevin with HCG. Gavin, how you been? Fantastic, man. Look, caught you out of the blue here. Did I catch you with a minute to have a conversation, or are you heads down doing something else? Oh, really? Wow. Okay. Well, I mean, if you're walking around, you got 30 seconds. I'll tell you why I called you specifically. Or right on, man. Right on. That's right. If someone important walks up, I'll call you back later. But Gavin, my name is Kevin Hopp. I run my own consulting firm, Hopp Consulting Group, and I specialize in helping sales leaders at tech companies build outbound sales process and structure that allows their reps to have more live conversations. Actually, a lot like this, to be honest with you. I know you're in more of a strategic alliances role. I didn't know. Do you have an outbound team that rolls up to you at Aptiga? Oh, okay. And so he has outbound reps that are trying to make calls and net new things. Ah, okay, cool. All right, so that's a tree I'll go bark up. Do you mind if I tell him real quick? I'll just say, hey, I had a conversation with Gavin Harris, pointed me in your direction. Do you mind if I do that? Sweet. Gavin, have a great time at your trade show. Hope you have a good rest of your day. Oh, nice. All right. I'll put him in for end of week. Thanks, Gavin. Cheers. Sweet.
Referrals make the world go round, baby.
Got a referral.
Love it.
So that's good. Yeah, I called this guy. He has a VP of sales title, but it's also sales operations. And then you go to his LinkedIn and it's like strategic sales, right?
Yeah.
So he's not the guy, but he told me who the guy is. And now I'm going to go find the guy on LinkedIn. They have the same name. Both VP of sales have the same
Get
name.
out of here.
They're both Gavins.
Chances? That's amazing.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I think that's kind of rare. What was also cool is that he told me that he's at a conference. So probably shouldn't reach out to him right now.
What's conference going on right now? Be a good one to know.
SaaStr this week? No.
September 7th, I think.
Are you going?
I wish. Now, fortunate enough, my son's turning 2, so I'll be having way more fun.
Dude, 2 is a good time.
Yeah, tell that to my hairline.
Oh, he's not even 2 yet. You don't even know, my man.
Don't even know, man.
The,
day by day, as he's growing, man, I'm turning to more of like an upside down Etch-a-Sketch, man. It's just
the tantrums are coming. They are coming.
Oh, they're here, man. They've been knocking on the door since, yeah. Nah, he's a good kid.
Awesome.
So what you? Are you gonna be heading out there?
No. I don't need to. I think I'm fortunate enough that I have go-to-market systems like this. I can work from home, right? Like I don't necessarily need to go out there. Plus, I'm a solo consultant, so like there's only so much I can do on my own. And spending a bunch of money to go out there and shake hands and take pictures would be fun, but I don't think it'd be the most valuable thing I can do with my time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I was working for a software business,
100%.
You know, like that's how it works. But
thanks, Richie. What hairline? Appreciate you, brother. Got some chirping in the chat.
Richie. From the top. All right, man. So I'm back in the queue. While we're waiting, I was gonna say, I had a magical moment in my second week ever cold calling back in 2014 when I got a real estate agent to take out their credit card on the phone and give me their credit card digits. And I ended up doing that we had that business model for about 5-6 months. And I was doing that on a weekly basis, getting 2 to 3 or 4 realtors in a week to give me their credit card information on the phone. I tell people, if it's a very, very raw form of sales, if you can get someone to go from I've never met you to here's the last 3 digits on the back of my card in one call, that's pretty sick, right? Like
you're doing something.
Yeah.
So what was the leading? I mean, not only does that like compound onto confidence, which is I think the biggest factor to either overcome or to master walking into cold calls, but like the compounding effects of building a business model straight from that, you just rinse, repeat, and you're off to the masses.
Yeah, it was interesting. Like, we were an early stage company and, I've been involved with a bunch of startups and none of them have been smashing successes, right? So that like the company that I'm talking about right now, like that seed stage company doesn't really exist anymore. I think they went completely under a year or 2 or 3 after I left. Never really scaled. So, and we pivoted our business model dramatically, which is really interesting. And I got to experience that and see it firsthand. I don't know, man. Something about me and my career, I always learn everything the hard way. If there's a hard way to learn it, like I learn it the hard way.
But you don't forget it, right? I think the harder the fall, the better the lesson. I don't know. I'm trying to be Confucius over here, but you know what I mean.
Oh, totally. I mean, you gotta be playing the game either way, right? I think that a lot of it comes back to my personality. If you're an impatient person, if you're entrepreneurial, if you're super curious like I am, I'm super curious. It's kind of tough to be a good employee because you got to keep your head down, focus on what's right in front of you, and kind of shut up. And that's never vibed with me. So I've been 5 years here full time on my own, doing various ventures in between. But I found it's better for me. It's better for my personality. I can go to sleep happy more often than not. That's what I'm looking to do. Dialer's running over here. Got 4 connects in about 30 dials. Very effortless. You can see Eric and I are not dialing with our hands. Hey, this is Kevin.
Hands free.
Hey, this is Kevin with HCG. Curtis, how are you? I'm all right, man, but shoot, I caught you out of the blue. Some people call us a cold call. Some people call it a strategic call. Call it whatever you want, but we never met before. Do you got a minute to chat? Oh, okay. If you're in the middle of a conference call, not a good time to chat. I was kind of curious. I didn't know. I might be talking to the wrong guy. I was looking for someone at Informatica that might be involved in outbound sales. Are you doing outbound? Oh, okay. Nice. Okay. All right, Curtis, I'll let you go. Have a great rest of your day. Cheers. He had a sales operations title, but he actually rolls up to IT.
So he's like a Salesforce admin.
Yeah, something like that.
Ops is a fickle position.
That's one way to make a living. Ops.
I used to sell to ops once upon a time, and definitely a different game, I guess. I don't know how to put it.
That's right. All right. Dialer running on your end too?
Yeah, baby. 73 dials, 5 connects. Not too bad. What do we had? 23 minutes, 22 minutes dialing. I'm happy with it.
Boom. So talk to me, Eric. When did you get introduced to dialing technology? You used a few different dialing tech platforms, I'm sure. We're not going to name names because this is a ConnectAndSell show, but I always talk. I like when people say like, "How did you get into what you do with consulting and stuff?" I'm like, dude, there are 2 moments in my career. All right, there's the moment before I ever used technology like ConnectAndSell, and there's after, and they are not the same. Like ever since I saw that this is something that is possible, that can, I can effortlessly have conversations really, really quickly, and I don't have to spend all day hunting for leads. Don't have to spend all day punching the phone and listening to it ring in my ear. That really changed the game for me. I'm curious, what was that moment for you?
I mean, the cliche term, revolutionary, obviously. No, I think to your point, right? Like I've got better things to do than sit back and wait for a dial tone, right? Yeah, I think that's all your jargon. Synopsis your shirt. But no, I think the main thing and the main correlator that I like to make sure to whenever somebody was looking to, or when I'm trying to reintroduce a dialer is has a process. Don't have the script, but like have a process. Because I've got 42 different ICPs going. So like, what do I have? 42 scripts? No, I've got a process, and I'm letting them do the hard work. So I'm just going to sit back and relax. So I wouldn't be able to do that without the dialer.
You just say you don't have a script?
No. No, I've got some what I call scratch questions that I hope to gain that I use in my disco and my qualifying conversations, but like, so it's all just tone reading. And
okay, would you train an entry-level rep to not have a script either?
It's a good one. I think it depends on their comfortability and their ability to have a conversation.
Right.
So yes and no. So if they're able to spark up a conversation in a bar with a total stranger, I guarantee they can rinse and repeat that same process on a phone call. Psychology tricks, et cetera, et cetera. Now, if they're a little bit more gun shy and they need more assistance, it's there for for use. But I find better success when I don't have guidelines, when I don't have expectations, when I don't have A, B, C, D lined up. I feel like I get better conversations, better connections, and better deal structures.
Interesting. That is definitely a hot take, because I would.
Hey, Jock, how you doing, man? This is Eric calling from the Sales Collective. From the Sales Collective. Clearly caught you out of the blue, I'm sure. Does it, the Sales Collective sound familiar at all? Not at all. That's correct. I sent you a couple of emails, but nonetheless, we're a sales transformative company that assists companies in accelerating revenue. So I'm just curious, right now, would you be more focused on inbound channel or
Hey,
kind
this
of
is,
refining more of your outbound channel? I like that. So I like that. Go straight to the catch. So the pitch is as I said in the title, it's basically we come in and we help refine process. We're seeing a market that has been brutal and unforgiving, and that we haven't seen for the last 15 years. And a lot of it comes in the sense of quick pivots, so to speak. So a lot of that time, the inbound well is drying up while more people are focusing on outbound or the latter in between. And so we come in and we guide, train, and kind of help implement some better processes and practices so we can generate a more refined approach into revenue generation or to sales hiring and such like that. So, I'm kind of curious as far as like in-house, are the opportunities kind of moving a little bit slower than normal, or where does that kind of deal velocity stand with you? Nice. Yeah, I get it. I like that. I like that ambition on that one. Let me poke that hole in the bucket for so to speak. So where are you seeing kind of the hole in your bucket in your process that you're looking to either plug up or refine? Uh, in the near future. Yeah. Mm, mm, mm. Yeah. Right. Right. Okay. Sure.
Yeah, time to ask for the credit card, Landon says.
Yeah, yeah, no, I can definitely. I mean, I always say I'm a guppy in a land full of sharks. I can definitely appreciate that. So, Jack, this is kind of my gotcha moment. But you mentioned you don't know what you don't know, and we kind of want to help guide that process in a sense, or maybe shine a light in that dark tunnel and help see where we kind of can either help refine or coach through some of these processes, so you don't have to feel like that guppy, in the shark pool. So no matter what kind of they dump on Google, you can have a back channel by leaning back on your solid revenue process. So my ask here is, would you want to take this, to a further conversation and sit with myself and my CRO and see if we could, help shine that light a little bit and talk to you for about 15, 20? Yeah. So how about I take a step back? So the grand scheme of things is I like to say myself that we're a bunch of coaches, without just the coaching mechanism. We like to teach, train, and implement as well. So the next conversation, the goal would be is to help understand a little bit more where the holes of the buckets are, and if it would be a fit of whether or not we could help assist with those set holes. Sure. Totally understand. And I misphrased that. We're not just coaches. We actually supply fractional leaders. Our main bread and butter is actually implementing a process. So we're assisting not for 3 days where we come and hoorah your reps or your team for 3 days and let them sizzle out, but it's actually implementing a process with like a 3 to 6 month timeline. So we actually do a little bit more of a concrete foundational lay than it is just giving words of wisdom and motivational speeches. So where coaching does amplitude a little bit, we definitely lay down a better foundation and look to solve the problem, not just send you on your way with better playbook. I do, yeah. I'm actually looking at your personal profile on LinkedIn about clarity and total and where you have been historically speaking. So we have done a number in retail service through a couple different clients, through Viking Tents. We currently work with a few manufacturing companies as well as supply companies. So our portfolio spans to a couple different verticals in addition to. Sure. Yeah. So so similar to myself, actually. Yeah, yeah. I hear you. So we help facilitate a higher velocity outbound motion, refining inbound motions to help facilitate pipeline generation, refining process, and helping still a better process for the longevity of the deal velocity to close to churn reduction. We kind of nail them all in the head as far as assisting, training, implementing. Awesome. Yeah. So similar to what I'm doing, kind of, blindly reaching out to you, that is, another facet that I actually specialize in as well is the outbound motion. Is going out there, getting the cold leads, getting the warm leads, generating the GTM process, the go to market, so to speak. So we tackle it from the top of funnel, but like I said, all the way down to mid and later stage. But definitely, the name of the game I think today is refining outbound structure, refining inbound, and as well as the whole top of funnel motion. In comparison to what you need, you mentioned that your outbound is pretty savvy, but definitely the correlation on what you wanted to generate inbound. Did I miss the mark on that one? Yep. Yep. Yeah. Yep. Are you looking to hire more people in those set territories, or relocate, or what are your kind of visions?
All right, Eric's going on a very, very long conversation here. So if you're tuned in, just want to say thank you for staying tuned in. Eric's going on, what is this, 13, 14 minutes, one of the longer cold calls we've ever had on Hop on Calls. He says, help me. Dude, make an exit, Eric. Hey, something just popped up. I got to go. That's what I would say to your prospect. Let's let Eric unmute and see how it's going.
Highlight and to show why I feel like this would be a conversation later. But what does your schedule look like for the next week around the 30th? Are you looking for something closer? Possibly, I have Thursday or Friday. What time is preference for you, my friend? Yeah, I'll shoot you over. I'll keep you in seat because my CRO is based out in Houston. So I'll probably send you over a calendar link with a little Zoom link attached with it. We'll chat for 15 minutes, break bread, have a beer, and see if it would be a good fit to take on conversation further. What time would be preference for you? Okay, I've got, is 11 a.m. too late? All right, well, cool. I'm going to send this over to you. Let's just verify that I have your email. What is it? Perfect. All right, my friend. Hey, thanks so much, Doc. Appreciate you talking, my friend. I look forward to chatting next Thursday. Next Wednesday. If there's anything I could do beforehand, I'll shoot you an email and just check in next Monday just to see if it's still an appetite for you. All right, buddy. Thanks so much for talking. All right, bye-bye.
Let's go.
13 minutes?
We got the banner, baby. We got the banner. Holy shnikes.
God,
Eric,
bless
I
it.
told you this is a cold calling show, not a call your best friend and talk to him about the war and peace and the Ukraine-Russia conflict. I felt like you covered everything between the Queen dying and coronavirus there.
Man, oh man, that was just our grocery list for my wife. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Dude, we got
oh my gosh.
We got fans. Love that.
God, talk about an interesting ICP when they just don't get cold called. So he really didn't even know the rope-a-dope. It was really, really interesting.
Wow.
But
what is that guy? That guy's a venture capitalist?
So no, he's the CEO of a telemarketing company. Clarity Telemarketing Management. So they basically sell subscriptions, ironically to what you had just talked about. But he literally gave me the entire scope of their revenue process, all the way from inbound to like drip campaigns, and I was just like, great, wow. Man, I don't want to talk about this right now. But yeah, it was interesting. I also probably fumbled that a couple of times because I'm working with a new script that I wrote 3 hours ago. new script. But yeah, man, got him. That's all that matters.
Awesome, man. Well, congratulations. I love that we got the meeting there. One of the things that I have done in the past, right? Because I've had reps, I've coached probably close to 100 SDRs on the phone. The older a rep, now I'm not saying there's like correlation, causation, but the older a rep, the more life experience they have, the longer of conversations they can get into with folks. And in cold calling, you don't want to have a 15-minute conversation because guess what? When most reps, when they just do what you just did, they're taking a break, right? They're going to take a big break.
Yeah.
Like it massively gets you out of your flow. And I'm all about teaching systems and processes for like repeatability. And we can't be having 13, 14-minute conversations. So I've had reps, boast about that. Oh, I had a 17-minute cold call the other day. And I'm like, dude, that's terrible. I don't want you having 17-minute cold calls. I want you having 3 to 5 minute calls that end in a scheduled appointment. And there's a bit of a magic line. The magic line that I like to use is, hey, this sounds like a really good conversation for us to have. The point of my conversation, my point of my call today was so we could schedule that. I don't have time for this conversation right now. Now, it sounds counterintuitive. A rep telling a prospect, I don't have time for you, right? It's 99% of the time, it's the other way around. It's always the prospect saying, well, I'm busy right now. You interrupted my board meeting. I am very important. I'm an executive, right? But flipping that power dynamic and just saying, hey, I don't have time to talk about all of this right now. But the good news. Point of this call is that we're going to have a separate meeting. We're going to have a meeting where we're not strangers, where you can unload everything you want to talk about. I'm going to bring somebody to this call that is more intelligent on this topic than me. So it's going to be a valuable use of all of our time. That's what I always coach reps on, right? Because what you just did is really hard to scale. That's really
100%. 100%. That's why I was throwing up the help me sign about 5 minutes ago. Because I knew, and you're absolutely right. And to your nod and to my fault, I didn't drive a good enough, not a gotcha. I hate that freaking term, but not a gotcha moment, but a good enough value early enough that they're going, I want to hear more. Because when I said one thing, he was like, well, and I was like, shit, okay, now I got to backpedal. I, kind of slipped into sneaky, well, and I was like, all right, we need to kind of reframe this whole conversation. But yeah, you made an absolute solid point. But
totally, man. So
old dog new tricks.
Interesting. It's interesting that we were just saying you don't use a call script and then you get on this wildly long call. You know what I mean? And it's because we didn't have any train tracks. We didn't have a talk track. We didn't have a point A to point Z. And this is like why I'm so dogmatic about it. Like I'm like the script master. Like I myself, who has a cold calling show, made $500,000 plus. I have a script that I'm looking at right now. Like always have a script. Always have a script. So Eric, like run with me on the metaphor. Here's the metaphor that I use to teach reps. Like
hit me.
You don't want to sound like a robot, right? I don't want to sound like a robot either. Nobody wants to sound like a robot. But there's a difference between sales conversations and normal conversations. And what I just drew over here, which you can see, I guess you can see.
Yeah. I got
these are stairs, right? Right here at the bottom. This is when the call starts. Hello? Door number 1 opens. We want to get to this door up here, which is meeting set. To get from point A to point B, the conversation is going to go up and down. We know that. But we do need, the difference between a sales conversation and a normal conversation is I need to have a process. I need to have a way to get from here to there where I understand what comes next. I understand where I want to take the call. And that's where a script comes into play. In this metaphor, the script is the handrail, right? And just like, someone who's made a lot of cold calls, who has a senior position, who can talk the talk with executives, you're holding on to that handrail a lot less, right? It's like kind of like when you're 17 years old and like you finally like you grow into your feet and like that between like junior and senior year of high school where most dudes just start to be like peak athletes and you're like, oh my God, I'm like finally big and I can move and I don't trip over myself and right? When you get that good, like, there were years in my life I didn't touch a handrail, man. I was flying. I was doing 4 steps at once. And now I'm like 31 and my knees hurt. And I'm like, I'm not going to do 4 steps at once anymore. But the metaphor is the script is here as a handrail to get you from point A to point B. And if you're new, which a lot of people who make cold calls are new. Like I'd say 90% of the people out there who actually make cold calls on a regular basis are in the first 3 years of their career. You need a handrail. That's my pitch to everyone out there. What are your thoughts on that, Eric?
I like the analogy. Now I'll sit here and say yes, but with the freedom of interpretation, or the freedom of, what's the word I'm looking for? Can't think of the word I'm looking for. But basically the ability to kind of like pivot away from the script. So I like to think of it like in a bullet point factor of like, these are the questions I need to have answered. How I get there could be refined in X way in order to deliver Z. So I will agree with the two aspects of the journey.
Yeah.
But too many times have I seen the script, and maybe this is just the stretch of the term script, and go, hey, Mr. So-and-so, or hey, Mrs. So-and-so, this is Eric. And it's very that systematic process of going, crap, they threw me a variable I wasn't prepared for. Rinse and repeat. And it just becomes that mundane process. Now, obviously we're not alluding to that one, but if I have a bullet point, I want you, Kevin, to have your personality exemplified out into this call by going, shit, and having that kind of ability to have a free flow, if I may call it that. But yeah. You're absolutely right, and I totally appreciate that analogy. But now I'm a trial by fire kind of guy. So like you were saying in the beginning, I have this script, these bullet points, this paper that I built in the last 2 to 3 days, and I'm going, shit, we're going to try this one and see what happens. I walked away from that call going, I didn't drive a value early enough. I wasn't clear on my messaging. So again, refining points of how I build the bumpers, if I may, or the barriers. Sure. Yeah. Or that handrail, as you call it. Yeah, exactly.
Dude, the bumpers, it's a handrail. It's very similar. Very similar. The metaphor kind of rolls that way. And, you know, I think folks that have followed this show for a while, Sean, thanks for tuning in. Nick, I've seen you here before. Thanks for coming, guys. You've heard me say before, I mean, if you've heard me cold call, which there's probably 100 hours of me cold calling on the internet at this point, I never really say the same thing twice.
Yeah.
So it's like, just because there's a handrail doesn't mean I'm hanging on to it. And I don't want reps to either, to your point. Like, that's a huge problem.
Yeah.
All you do is read every word of the script every time. It's a problem. But you should have a linear structure to how you get going in the call. Like, what's next? How do I know where to take the call?
Yeah.
Let's see if I can't get one more. I'm gonna get back in the queue. Boom. I'm back in the queue. See if we can't get another 13-minute cold call and end on that. Nah, I'd like a good meeting. That'd be nice. Landon's got a point here. To your point, scripts can be very valuable, so you learn what works and what does not work very quickly.
Yeah.
That's right.
Landon's a beast, man. I've seen him around on LinkedIn. What's up, dude?
Landon's the truth. Landon's the real.
Man.
Eric, question for you. If you had to choose, is sales more art or science? What do you think?
Oh, man. Last year, I would have said an art. This year, I say a science.
Ooh. In 1 year, it's changed. What's changed in a year?
Looked outside at this market. No, I had hair last year. No, I think
tough, man.
I think it's in twofold, right? Like so I look at this in two different ways, right? Like the art of it is standing out in a company, right? Whether large, small, in between, self-sufficient. Like the art is being you, being able to exemplify yourself.
Hey, Kevin with HCG. Clayton, how are you? I'm all right, but man, I caught you out of the blue here. Some people call us a cold call. I mean, if I caught you doing something else, so you driving with coffee in your hand, you got the kid in the back seat, or do I have you with a minute to chat? Sweet. Clayton, notice you're over at Park Hub. Is that still accurate? Sweet. Do you have an outbound sales team that rolls up to you at Park Hub? Okay, right on. I guess the reason I'm asking, Clayton, my name's Kevin Hopp. I run my own company, Hopp Consulting Group. What I do is I help outbound sales teams look at their process structure and strategy as it relates to outbound sales. And I always find areas to help them improve. And at the end of the day, my whole thing is on doing actions just like this. Like, how do your reps talk the talk? How do they get into more live conversations with people every day? Is any of that like an area of focus for you? Should we maybe schedule some time later this week to examine what that might look like? Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. Okay. Right on. Do you think I should reach out to your CRO? Yeah, I don't outsource though. That's it's tough for bringing an outside consultant to help. You guys never do that? You never seen that happen? Uh-huh. Okay. Yeah, interesting. Well, Clayton, thanks for the information, man. I really do appreciate it. I'm gonna go bark up your CRO's tree. Do you mind if I just drop your name when I call him, or do you want to keep this like our little secret? All right, all right. We can keep it our little secret. You know what? I know what not to tell him, right? Like the thing that I always train reps on how to do this exact thing. And you can't say, hey, I spoke to Clayton. He told me that you were really interested in buying what I sell, right? Like that's not what I'm going to lead with. But I would say, hey, I had a conversation with Clayton. He mentioned you guys have a unique pod structure, and I thought I'd take it on myself to reach out to you and have the conversation. Do you have a minute? And just by dropping your name, he might not hang up on me. That's half the battle, right? Like just getting people to not hang up on you. Love it. All right, Clayton, I'll do that. If it ever gets back to you that I called him, it will be a good thing, I promise. Connected with you on LinkedIn, by the way. Always good to put a face to the name to the face. Have a great rest of your day, man. Cheers. Ooh, all right. Ding, ding.
Yeah.
Good little call. You know what really confounds your ability to like prospect sales leaders? VP titles that are individual contributors.
Yeah.
Yeah. This guy's at a SaaS business. And he has a VP title. And he's like, I'm an individual contributor. I'm like, what? He told me a bunch of information about their business too, which is cool. But
That's interesting. I've seen director of sales, or like the sales director is being that convoluted to AE, never a VP.
Yeah, I don't have any directors, anything with director in it. If it's sales, 99 times out of 10, it's going to be an individual contributor who's just directing their own sales.
Yeah.
Not directing anyone else's sales.
Which is still, I still leverage them as far as like, if I'm really trying to get inside or like get some information, I'll call the snot out of them and just peel them back. Just give me all the information that I can leverage running it up. But yeah.
That's right. It'd be funny if you hung up on you after you said that. Yeah, it would be. It would be if I called the CRO and I was like, "Hey, I talked to Clayton," and drop the name, and the CRO was like, "I hate Clayton." Like, can you imagine that?
I've had that, where they've thought that they've stood in good conscience or in good circumstances, and I'm like, yeah, man, Kevin Kevin said this. Kevin doesn't know what he's talking about, and like literally, it's just like disqualified it right off the bat, and I was like, oh crap.
Oh man. Yeah, to Sean's point, life experience thing. Quick shout out to Sean and his business Shift Group that he's working with. They help take athletes who have really good experience and veterans that have really good life experience, turn them into SaaS killers on the phone, which is, people don't realize that any experience you have can be good experience to use on the phone. Your personality needs to be able to come through. The only types of people that I've seen that really fall flat when it comes to sales are folks that either have a super introverted personality and therefore like don't have a natural curiosity to talk about what's going on, like ask people these questions, and folks that are super analytical. Like if you're too analytical, this goes back to the question I was asking Eric right before I got that connect, which is like art and science. Like if you're too analytical, outbound sales is not going to be for you because there's a really big element of like, fuck it, we just got to make the calls today. You know what I mean? And we got to throw it against the wall. And if you are going to analyze, paralysis by analysis, man.
100%.
Number one thing you got to do is make sure we hit your activity, right? Let's get out there and have the conversations. We're going to put a wrap on the show for today. Eric, it's been a really good time chopping it up with you here. One of the longer calls in the history of Hop on Calls. So shout out to that long call. I do appreciate it, man. That's a good job getting the meeting. How can people connect with you, learn from you?
Oh man, I'm a old dog, new tricks, man. I don't have all of the social media jargon, but I'm here. I live religiously on LinkedIn. Yeah, man, I post more than a 13-year-old on Snapchat, so you'll probably see me around.
Love that. I love that. More than a 13-year-old on Snapchat. That's funny. That's one way to look at it. Well, shout out again to our sponsor, ConnectAndSell, your live conversation weapon. If you guys haven't checked it out, are you living underneath the rock? It's the future. Look, Eric and I lifted no fingers. We dialed no phones, and we had a lot of really good conversations. Eric said a really valuable meeting. That could be millions of dollars. And it just happened live. Thank you to ConnectAndSell. So shout out to our sponsor. And everybody, stay tuned. In 2 weeks, we're coming back with another edition of Hop on Calls live. Really excited for that. Eric, thank you so much for.
Appreciate you, brother.
Thank you so much.